Hey everyone, Teo here. Today I'm reviewing the XP Pen Artist 12 second generation pen display. This review is going to be long, so if you want to save time, you can check out the text review that I have on my blog. The link is in the video description below, or use the timestamps provided to jump to different sections of this video. First of all, disclaimer, this is a review unit provided by XP Pen, and in case you don't know, a pen display is actually a monitor that you can draw on. So even though this is very thin like a tablet, since it's a monitor, you still have to connect this to a computer in order to use this. Just to give you the bottom line up front, the XP Pen Artist 12 second generation has many improvements over the first generation, which was released in 2018. So now it has better color support, better contrast, even better pressure sensitivity for the new pen, support for Android, Chrome OS, Linux, Windows, and Mac OS, and support for USB-C. Let's take a look at the pricing. So here are some pen displays from the many that XP Pen are selling. In this column, we have the official retail price, and Black Friday 2021 is coming up, so these are the Black Friday prices. The Artist 12 second gen standard edition is priced at $249 US. And the gift edition, the one with extra stickers, that's $289. The Black Friday prices are $212 and $231 US respectively, and these are very competitive pricing compared to other brands. My usual recommendation for pen displays is to get something that is 13 inches and larger, so I want to bring your attention to this XP Pen Artist 13.3 Pro Holiday Edition, which is $239 US if you can get it at the Black Friday price. So this is a really good deal. The main difference between this versus the Artist 12 second gen is the Artist 12 second gen uses the new pen, which has a much better drawing performance compared to the previous pen, which has good performance, but this pen, this new X3 Elite pen is just much better. The only other pen display that supports this pen is the Artist Pro 16 2021, but that is noticeably more expensive. This is the packaging for the gift edition, which is available only in USA and Canada, and the pen display only comes in black. The standard edition is available in more countries, and the colors available are black, blue, green, and pink. I am not going to show you the unboxing so that you can have the satisfaction and surprise of unboxing this yourself. So let me just show you the things included. This is the X3 Elite pen, which uses the new X3 Smart chip. There are two side buttons here, no eraser. This is not powered by battery, so no charging required. The two side buttons are customizable. I like the matte textured surface. This is quite comfortable to hold. The build quality is solid. The pen nib has slight movement to it. The pen has support for tilt and slightly over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. 10 replacement nibs are included, and this is the nib remover. Microfiber cleaning cloth, one artist glove, a quick start guide, and warranty info. This is the 3-in-1 cable for connecting the pen display to your computer. This USB-C will go to the pen display, and on the computer side we have a full-size HDMI, USB Type-A for data. This will allow your pen display to detect the pen. If your computer's USB port can provide enough power through this to power the pen display, then you don't need to use this read USB. Otherwise, you'll need to connect this to another USB port for extra power. It can be to your computer's USB port or to an adapter, which is not included. You can use your phone's USB charger. The pen display supports USB-C, but the USB-C cable is not included and is sold separately for US $14. The other cable is a USB Type-A extension cable. And lastly, we have the beautiful gift edition non-glossy stickers that you can use to customize your pen display. Whether you should spend the extra money over the standard edition to get these stickers is up to you to decide. These two look really good. So this is the XP Pen Artist 12 second gen pen display. When you first see this in the box, there will be a big label here telling you to peel off the glossy reflective protective film that's on the matte screen protector. This pen display has a matte textured drawing surface. When you peel off that protective film, make sure you don't peel off the matte screen protector. The surface should be matte, it should not be glossy. This matte screen protector is applied to the whole surface of the pen display with a cutout for the 8 physical shortcut buttons here. Because this is a screen protector, it may get scratches in the future. Replacement screen protectors are available from XP Pen, but it's quite expensive. It's US $40 for 2 pieces. So the design of this pen display looks really nice. There is this hard, smooth, rubberized edge on all the edges. This is quite thin, it's just 1.2 centimeters. On the back, there are 4 rubber feet. If you're getting the standard edition with other colors, the color here and on the sides will be different. On this side, we have a USB-C port for the 3-in-1 cable, and this is the USB-C port for the USB-C to C cable. This rubber cover can be removed. Buttons for adjusting the brightness, light indicator for the power button. These 2 ports are not the same size, so this rubber cover will not fit here. It's not going to go in all the way, so let me just remove that. Now if you want to use your own USB-C cable, there are a few things you need to know. This design here means you may not be able to use your USB-C cable. So for example, I have a USB-C cable with a rectangular plastic connector part here. This cannot go in. I have this white USB-C cable from Apple. This can go in, but this can only transmit data, so it cannot be used to transmit video, so it doesn't work with this pen display. Thankfully, I have another USB-C cable with this smaller plastic part here, and this is able to go in. With USB-C, you can get a 1-to-1 connection, so that really minimizes cable clutter. Colors on this pen display look good out of the box. I have already color calibrated this and measured color support for 99% sRGB, 93% ODB RGB, 94% P3, and 89% NTSC. So the colors here are actually noticeably better compared to the previous model. I can also see the contrast is better. The brightness is just 151 nits from what I've measured. I wish this display could be brighter, but this brightness is still sufficient for use indoors. This is how the anti-glare looks when there are reflections on the display. When you are looking at the display from the front, it's going to look alright. Viewing angles are good with slight drop in brightness and minimal color shift when viewed from extreme angles. Notice I'm pushing the USB connector into the pen display because my cable is not the perfect fit. So when it wiggles or moves slightly, the display will be disconnected. So this is a 11.9 inch LCD display. The resolution is 1920 by 1080. The visuals and the UI are sharp enough with slight pixelation. Image quality is affected by the matte screen protector, but it's not too bad, as in it's not too grainy. The display is laminated, so there is minimal gap between the drawing surface and the LCD beneath. When drawing, it's going to look like the line is appearing directly beneath the pen tip. The thing I don't quite like about smaller displays is the smaller user interface elements such as the menus, the icons, the palettes, and the canvas space. You can increase the scaling for the text, the icons, but all this will take up more space on the display and make the canvas space even smaller. Just for comparison purposes, this is how big the 11.9 inch display is compared to A4 size paper. So you can see this A4 paper has more height to it, much more height, and it's much wider. If you have the extra budget, I do recommend getting the larger pen display, 13 inches and above. But right now, the only larger pen display that also supports the X3 Elite pen is the XP Pen Artist Pro 16, which is noticeably more expensive compared to this pen display because of the much larger size. I have the pen display on my own stand because no stand is included. You definitely want to get yourself a tablet stand so that you can use this pen display at a more comfortable angle. Let's take a look at the drivers. The Windows and Mac drivers are quite similar with some slight differences, which I'm going to point out later. There is also a Linux driver. So this is the work area. This is where you can map the pen display to your desktop. I have dual extended desktop setup. So this is my laptop and this is the pen display. If you are left-handed, you can switch the orientation to 180 degrees. And under display settings, this is where you can customize the color temperature, the RGB, the brightness and contrast. This is not available in Mac OS, so to adjust color settings, you have to do it through the Mac OS settings. If there is any misalignment from the pen tip and the cursor, you can calibrate the pen here, calibration button there. For the pen, you can customize the two side buttons to any keyboard shortcuts you want or mouse clicks. Since I'm using two displays, I'm going to set one of the buttons to switch monitor, and it works well for both Windows and Mac OS. And this is where you can customize the pressure curve. There is only one control here. So the customization is not very specific. And here you can use mouse mode, and Windows Ink feature is here but not with Mac OS. If pressure sensitivity is not working for some reason, you may have to toggle Windows Ink on and off to troubleshoot. For the shortcut keys, well, there are 8 buttons you can customize. So you can customize to specific keyboard shortcuts that you want or pre-program shortcuts. If you want to create a group of shortcuts for any specific apps that you use, you can add those apps here. So you can have one set of shortcuts for Photoshop, another set for Illustrator, maybe another set for some other software that you use. Time for some line quality test. The first test is initial activation force. The initial activation force of this X3 Elite pen is minimal, which is to say that you can draw thin lines really easily by applying very faint or light pressure. As long as the pen tip is in contact with the drawing surface, you can get a line. So that's how sensitive this pen is. And this is how thick the line really is. Here's the transition from thin to thick. So the line can go back to become really thin very easily. Pressure consistency. So here I'm trying to maintain the same pressure to draw lines with consistent waves. Pressure consistency. So here I'm trying to maintain the same pressure to draw lines with consistent thickness. Let's test for diagonal line jitter. Diagonal line jitter usually affects those portable tablets and not pen displays or pen tablets. So here the performance is quite good. This is how the lines taper, and the lines taper very beautifully. More specifically, you can see the lines, they start thinner, become thicker, and then tapers very smoothly, very gradually. So this is very good performance. And lastly, let's create some dots. Works fine. This is Krita, which I'm using to show you tilt is working, and the pen works right to the edge of the display. There is the usual latency as the line is trying to catch up with the pen tip. This is very normal, and it's not an issue unless you are drawing long sweeping lines most of the time. I'm very satisfied with the drawing experience on this pen display because this matte screen protector has a nice texture to draw on, and the pen is very sensitive and accurate. The shortcut buttons here, they work well, but they don't behave exactly like the keys on a proper keyboard. For example, if you want to adjust the brush size, you have to keep pressing the buttons here. Whereas on this keyboard, you can just press and hold and the brush size will just adjust continuously. Let me zoom out slightly. Okay, this is not a touch screen, so it's not going to support finger gestures when it comes to navigating. So let me just use my keyboard shortcut. I still prefer to use my keyboard because I have access to all the shortcuts, whereas if I use these buttons, I only have access to 8. So my hand, the other hand, is always on the keyboard. This app that I'm using is Medibank Paint Pro, and it's a free app. Initial activation force of this pen is really low. This is a very sensitive pen. There are other pens out there with very low initial activation force. However, some of those pens may not be able to sense the pressure changes when you're drawing with very minimal pressures. But this pen, it's very sensitive, so you can detect those small pressure changes when you're drawing with little or no pressure. So this is a very sensitive pen. And here you can see the lines, they taper very nicely. You can taper from left to right or right to left, doesn't matter. It works either way, which is very nice. Now with Medibank Paint Pro, to draw dots you have to tap and drag, but with Photoshop or Clip Studio you can just tap on the display. So that's one thing I found out. So here I can get this tapering strokes to look really nice. Let's draw some really thin lines here. So this is how thin those lines can be. It's almost like you are sketching with a pencil. You know, when you sketch with a pencil lightly, yeah, that's the feeling you get when you're drawing with this. So this pen is very accurate, very sensitive, and the lines are able to come out exactly the way I expect them to. Performance is very consistent, very predictable. There are no surprises. The pens that XP Pen have been using for their other models, the pen before this model, they are good, but they are not as good compared to this new pen. So this is a good improvement, definitely. So the drawing experience with this pen, on this pen display, it's really good. The only thing that I don't like is the small 11.9 inch display. This size is not for me personally, but you get what you pay for, because if you want a larger pen display, then it's going to cost more. The only other pen display that's using this X3 Elite pen is the XP Pen Artist Pro 16, which is the upgraded model or updated model of the XP Pen Innovator. This is how thick the brush really is. So you can actually choose a thick brush and you don't have to adjust the brush size anymore because the pen is so sensitive. You can get thin lines very easily. You don't have to adjust the brush size to get those thin lines. Currently, I actually have the pen display flat on my table because it's easier for me to record with the camera. Ideally, I should be using this on my tablet stand because when the pen display is flat on the table, you have to look down, you have to hunch over, so that's obviously not good for your posture, especially when it comes to working for long periods of time. With a tablet stand, you can use this pen display as a main monitor just by propping it up. So the drawing performance is really good. It's very predictable, very consistent performance. I mean, when it comes to drawing, you really want the lines to come out exactly the way you expect them to. You don't want any surprises. Let me add the shadows. If you want a larger drawing area, then you would have to hide your palettes. With a larger pen display, I find that I don't usually hide my palettes, but on this smaller one, I do hide my palettes quite often. With a larger canvas, you can draw more freely. You can have a wider hand movement. Latency is definitely not an issue. There is latency, but it's not an issue. I mean, even when I'm sketching like really quickly right now, no problems at all. It's still quite responsive. This performance that you see here is the same performance you can expect from Photoshop, Affinity Photo, Clip Studio, and Krita. The only software that I discovered that has some issues is Adobe Illustrator on Mac OS. For some reason, Pressure doesn't work on Adobe Illustrator on Mac OS. But Illustrator Windows works just fine with Pressure. Affinity Designer is the competing software for Adobe Illustrator, and Pressure works fine with Affinity Photo. If you want to get a pen display that you can also use as a main display, I would recommend you get something that is larger so that the overall experience is better. You're going to get a better user experience with a larger pen display. Okay, this is, I mean, the performance is really good. I don't have any complaints or negative things to say about this. And let's see if I can draw right at the edge here. Yes, the pen is still very accurate right at the edge of the pen display. So earlier on I mentioned something about the pen nib moving slightly. The experience here is, how I would say, I don't have anything to say about the pen nib because there's nothing to say about the pen nib except it moves. It doesn't impact the drawing experience in any way. Yep, so if you want to sketch like really quickly, no problem. So this is the completed sketch. My overall drawing experience is positive and enjoyable. The last thing I want to talk about is cursor tracking at the extreme edges. This will depend on how you hold a hand and whether you are left-handed or right-handed. So I'm right-handed. Let me show you what I mean. This is actually quite difficult for me to capture on the camera. So when the pen is hovering away from the edge, the cursor is directly beneath the pen tip, and when you tap on the display, the pen tip and the cursor will meet. However, when the pen is hovering near the edge, the cursor is directly beneath the pen tip, but when you move the pen tip down, the cursor will stray 2 to 3 pixels away to the right side, as you can see here. But it's a very minor issue in the sense that I am still able to use the scroll bar at the extreme edge here, click on the up and down buttons here or anything near the edge here easily without any issues. There is no misalignment when the pen is held more vertically. I'm right-handed, the misalignment will happen here on the right side. It's not going to happen here. If I switch to my left hand, the misalignment will happen here and the cursor will stray in this direction, but there will be no misalignment here. Alright, to conclude, the XP Pen Artist 12 2nd Gen is a pen display with good colors and excellent drawing performance. The pricing is very competitive, so this is worth the money. The downsides, the stand and the USB-C cable are not included, so you may have to spend some money to buy those yourself. And the max pen brightness is just 150 nits. I wish it could be brighter, but 150 nits is still sufficient for indoor use. So if you have any questions regarding this, let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to check out my reviews for other XP Pen products, just visit the links that I have for you in the video description below. Thanks for watching. See you guys again. Bye.